Expect to the big story of the day, the release of France 24 correspondent Romeo Langlois by the Colombian FARC.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to actually look at the Colombian press. For the moment, it's very factual articles. I'm sure we'll get more in-depth analysis throughout the day. And tomorrow, we're going to start by looking at El Espacio. The French journalist Romeo Langlois is free, says their headline. And it comes back on the circumstances of his release and comments he made right after he was released. He said, "I'm a bit tired, but I'm okay. The FARC rebels treated me like a guest. They were very respectful, and I have nothing to complain about." Now, there's also an article in El Tiempo, which is a liberal daily, which says, following his release, Langlois spends his first night in Bogota. And according to this article, he's been a correspondent in Colombia for over 10 years now, and he says that his captivity won't stop him from continuing to cover the conflict between the government and the FARC rebels, even though he says that right now he is pretty exhausted and needs a break. Now, a lot of reactions are coming in from French President François Hollande, who says that this is a time of great joy. Meanwhile, the EU Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton says that she hopes this event will mark a definite end to the practice of kidnapping by FARC.
Certainly giving us some more insights into how the FARC operates. Now, Syria is also a big subject, of course, in the international press today. What are they saying?
Well, there's been a lot of coverage of Syria for months, weeks,
14 months.
And it continues every day. So today I decided to focus on criticism of President Bashar al-Assad that's continuing, especially following this recent massacre in Hula that left over 100 people dead, a massacre that appears to be hammering more nails into the coffin of the peace plan. We're going to look at a cartoon in The Independent where you see Assad there, who's painted himself into a corner with blood. So a pretty grim picture of the situation there. There's also a lot of criticism of the international community as well in the press because it appears to be standing by and failing to take any action. We're going to take a look at another cartoon, this time in the International Herald Tribune. We see a beaten up depiction of Syria lying in a pool of blood there with blood trickling down towards representation of the United States that's saying, we were hoping that to keep that situation contained. And in the little bottom right-hand corner, you see the cartoonist Tools, who's saying, well, it's the gravity of the situation that making it so that the international community can no longer ignore what's going on there. And there's another interesting article coming back to The Independent, this time about the upcoming Olympic Games. And according to this article, Syrian athletes may have to compete under a neutral flag, the Olympic flag. This comes after the International Olympic Committee is coming under pressure to ban officials with links to President Bashar al-Assad. So we'll see what happens.
We certainly will. Okay, let's move on to another story. In the US this time, Mitt Romney has secured the Republican nomination after winning the Texas primary, so he's officially got everything he needs. And what's the press been saying about that?
Well, a lot of the press is saying that Obama needs to watch out for Romney. We're going to take a look at an article in the Christian Science Monitor that says that Romney and the Republicans have God on their side, and this may help them prevail. So according to this article, the GOP, the Republican Party, is seeking to gain the support of every U.S. religion. Now, according to this article, on top of evangelical Christians, more and more of the U.S.'s major religions, including Mormons, Jews, and Catholics, every major religion except for Islam, appears to be identifying with the Republican Party in increasing numbers. And so the Republican Party appears to be building this coalition of religious voters. And according to this article, religious voters are voters who find the Republicans' domestic and foreign policy attractive because of their religious values, whereas according to this article, the Democratic Party tends to keep religion out of politics. So it seems like Romney and the GOP have God in their corner, and this could help him. There's also a really interesting article in the Christian Science Monitor about Abraham Lincoln, who is America's first Republican president.
He's
the GOP,
an icon, of course.
An icon. The GOP calls themselves Lincoln's Party. But according to this article, if he were running for the Republican nomination in 2012, he probably wouldn't get it because he is at odds with the current Republican Party on hot-button issues. For instance, he invented income tax. He was the first one to make it federal law. Second of all, he didn't advertise his faith. Thirdly, according to this article, he wasn't the best-looking guy out there, and today that would be very important for the media.
You need to be hunky.
You need to be hunky, Mitt Romney, I must admit. pretty good looking. The fourth, he tends towards moderate positions, and he was one for long speeches, so not political zingers that you see today.
I think it goes to show how politics overall has changed, though, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Dramatically. Especially these days, you have to be hot to win.
Hot to win, exactly.
Many thanks to you, Florence Filipino, our press reviewer, for taking us through the international press. Now, a reminder of our top stories here online.